and unfortunately lost some as well. Let this Christmas season remind us of what is really important, being here to celebrate with our loved ones, whether in a big or small way. This is Relisa, and I'm wishing everyone a safe and blessed Christmas season.
WEFM, the new fresh sound.
Rise and shine. Let's get ready to take on the day. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
And we are back. It's 8:05 in the Deans, and you're listening to Activated Mornings this morning with myself, Ari, Christal, and with us in studio, Dr. Gerald Thompson. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. A very pleasant good morning to everybody.
I feel like I haven't seen you in a very long time.
Well, I just got back from Trinidad, and really wonderful visit there.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. Actually driving on radio, I was listening at these similar morning programs, and they came up with that a gentleman had been missing, an elderly gentleman missing. Everyone was looking for him. Trinidad is approaching about 600 murders this year, and people were fearful that something serious had happened. And then the guy wrote and called in and said, "Listen, I'm not missing. I just wanted to get away from my wife." And this was sparking a whole set of discussion on the radio. So I thought that was it. A lot of other great things happened, but I thought this was so interesting.
I think I remember seeing that. That was last week, week
That
before.
was last week.
Yeah, but I don't
that?
think it's
That was in the
unfamiliar.
States? Where did that happen, you said?
It was in Trinidad.
Oh dear.
In Trinidad.
Oh no. And he was pretty ageable, right?
He's an elderly man, and people were fearful, but he had his motives,
What are the motives?
I wonder. He must have got it from his wife.
You're making some accusations, boy. What was the motive?
That's interesting. All right. So let's give away something in the spirit of Christmas. 10 days of giveaways right here at WFM 99.9 begins today. So we're going to give away 3 different items. So for this one here, you have to answer a very easy question, and it's coming to you. Compliments Frank B. Armstrong, Better Brands Distributors. That's located on Fountain Stretch, VG Highway. All right. So with this, you're gonna get some cookies, Blue Wash Oreo cookies, not just any cookies, Oreo cookies. I just realized. Blue Wash dishing liquid, a sweet stockings, a candy box, curves, panty liners. Gentlemen, you can still call and get, and you could call via WhatsApp too, right? 4579997, and give it to the lady in your life, or perhaps your daughter. Okay, cool. Trill laundry detergent. Okay, awesome. So the question is, I'm gonna try to choose a nice one, an easy one. Okay, what is the saying, the tagline or slogan for 9 mornings in SVG? Very easy, very easy. 4579997. Now, while we wait on them to call, and they can also call via WhatsApp. Make sure I get it and I could see. All right. Oopsie. Right. Well, so while we wait on them to call, let's get into what we're going to talk about today. All right, go ahead.
So the Venezuelan and Guyanese presidents will both be in St. Vincent this Thursday. So the stories are all over, but read from Eyewitness News right now. It says the president of Guyana and Venezuela are scheduled to meet in St. Vincent and the Grenadines on Thursday amid heightened tension over the long-running border conflict, even as both countries remain steadfast in their opposing positions on how the conflict should be resolved. Prime Minister of SVG, Ralph Gonsalves, confirmed the meeting to the media in Kingston on Saturday evening, sometime after reports about it emerged from the Guyanese capital, Georgetown. So to summarize, we know that Venezuelans voted on a referendum to take over, or was it 2/3 of Guyana, the Essequibo region. And since then, a helicopter went missing. Or did it crash? Did it crash or did it go missing? I can't remember.
At
off
first
the
it
top
said
of
it
my
was
head.
missing, but what I read following up that was that the occupants passed away.
Yeah, I think two survive. And so tensions are it's heightening over in Venezuela and Guyana, and there are a lot of theories out on how the international community, CARICOM and CELAC, will be dealing with this. In the midst of it, it seemed like Dr. Gonzalez, along with the head of CARICOM, Dr. Gonzalez was the head of CELAC, and the head of CARICOM, which is Roosevelt Skerritt, they had talks with both leaders, and it ended in agreement that both would be in St. Vincent on Thursday to try to meet each other halfway, hopefully. But then we also saw a story coming out with the Guyanese president, Mr. Ali, saying that he believes that the only way it will be solved is if the ICJ is involved. So what are your thoughts, Doc?
I heard your comments on this earlier, and I think this has to be clarified. You mentioned that the president of Belize might have been there. I'm wondering if it's the president of Brazil.
Brazil. Okay.
Brazil, yes, it was
yes,
Brazil.
sorry.
Yes, Brazil.
Wrong B.
President Lula.
Yes.
Shares a border with the various entities, and would obviously be an asset if he was involved. Brazil being the largest country, most populous nation in the Americas outside of the United States.
Yeah.
This is going to be a real complex issue that people are gonna have their sides, and I think it can be the skills of negotiation and the length of time it may take to negotiate. It's certainly possible. It's starting with talking, and whether or not other international bodies come into play. Venezuela has said they don't recognize that particular international body. Guyana does. So it's going to be a fascinating thing, but that the initial discussion is one that I think
about whatever just happened to the live stream just now.
Internet went down for me.
Yeah, but
All right.
as we wait, let's just break for briefly and come back. Yeah, let's break briefly and come back.
Aye, it's Christmas time again, boy. And it's barrel time again.
Are you clearing barrels, boxes, / cargo this Christmas season? Then, here are a few things to consider to make the process much easier. Prior to arrival at the Port Authority, collect all necessary clearance documents from your shipping agency. Ensure they inform you on the location of your goods, whether Port Kingstown, the Geese Shed, or Camden Park. And remember, when approaching the Port Authority, a valid ID is required. We now accept credit / debit card payments at the following locations: Cash Office Tailgate Kingstown, Port Admin Office Kingstown, Cruise Ship Terminal Cash Office, and Camden Park Cash Office. For your convenience, we have extended our cargo clearance opening hours: Friday, December 15th, 4 to 6 p.m., Saturday, December 16th, 1 to 4 p.m., Wednesday, 20th, 21st, and 22nd December, 4 to 6 p.m. and Saturday, December 23rd, 1 to 6 p.m. Season's greetings to all from the SVG Port Authority.
The more barrel, the merrier.
Every girl loves curves. Curves is a girl's closest friend. When life throws you a fast curve, count on Curves for ultra confidence. Ultra comfort for that time of the month. Curves ultra thin with wings, Curves regular maxi with wings, and Curves overnight maxi with wings. Super absorbent, best quality and value for money. Every girl loves Curves.
Agents and distributor. Better Brands Distributors.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from the management and staff at Frank B. Armstrong, St. Vincent Limited and Better Brands Distribution.
Hello, everybody. It's Christmas in the country.
A storm or hurricane can cause extensive damage and tremendous loss. There can be flooding, landslides, and lightning strikes. Are you protected? What about an earthquake, volcanic eruption, a tsunami, or even a bushfire? Are you protected? Century Insurance protects you, your family, your home, your business. Talk to one of our friendly agents today. Call our Kingstown office at 456 or Beckway 458-3855 or contact our representative, Mr. Jason Sargent, in the Bayshore Mall at 454-4260. Call Century Insurance. We can protect you. Century Insurance. Upstairs, the First St. Vincent Bank Building in Kingstown.
WEFM, the new fresh sound.
Activated Mornings on WeFM 99.9 is on now.
Thanks for bearing with us as we sorted those technical difficulties this morning. We're talking Venezuela, Guyana, but Christal, want to remind our listeners about the giveaway that we have going on currently?
I'm surprised nobody called yet for it. I see somebody comment on the live and said, "Oh, Christmas, our vibes." Okay. No, that's not the correct answer. When you go to 9 mornings and the host is on the stage, the host says something, and people who go up, they say something too. They say, da 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 da. I just give you the whole
I wish
thing
I wish I was a listener right now.
I
What
just
shall
give you
get
the
some
whole
biscuit?
answer right there. What is it?
What
I
shall
call
I
it
get
a
you some biscuit?
slogan. I call it it's not a slogan. That thing that they always say is not a slogan.
Well-
Once you hear it, you know it's 9 mornings. I just give you half the answer there again.
Hey, someone calling in there.
But it'll be the answer.
we'll
All
s-
right. So we'll stick up in on that. Go and Google it. Call somebody from the Ministry of Culture to get the answer. Okay? Great. So let's
Okay.
continue with
So what are
Venezuela.
the live with the answer there?
That's half of the answer. That's not the full answer. You're missing something. Something goes before that. It's a greeting. Everybody says it. All right. Once you see a certain person, well, people at a certain time of the day,
Mhm.
right? You say, da, 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 da. We have said it many times this morning. Anyways, we continue.
Yeah, the number to call
Keep trying.
457-9997. Also the number to WhatsApp, and we're live on YouTube and Facebook right now.
Let's take a call. I don't think he's gonna try to answer the question. But anyways, hello, good morning.
Well, because it's Christal trying to get me to win, let me say, good morning, it's 9 morning.
There you go.
That's
Get my
all I
biscuit,
know.
boy.
All right, so
He get my biscuit, you know, FX.
why you laughing? Why you laughing?
I'm laughing at Ari. I'm not laughing at you, okay? I'm
Oh,
laughing
you
at
better have
Ari.
not, sir.
Well, Dave.
Hey, that's a threat, eh?
Oh, Lord Jesus.
You see how anyhow, let me leave that alone. So Christal, I know Christal in terms of her voice on radio. Anyhow.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so
Okay.
what are you telling me?
No, I have taken your contacts. I know your name, so I'll let you know
Okay.
when somebody could come and collect it for you. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
And you could
Congrats.
bring it here.
No,
you
no,
could
don't
bring
try
it,
that.
no
Come.
problem.
I'm too busy. Thank you,
Yeah.
Dave. Thank you for your
No, but-
contribution.
Oh, is that the excuse?
Thank you for your contribution.
All right. So
Okay.
Coming back, I want to deal with that topic.
Okay. Well, come
Yeah.
back. Come back. Come back.
yeah, we talking
Alright.
Guyana, Venezuela. Now, Doc, based on your experience, right? What would you say to the common comment by everyday Vincent Shana? What does St. Vincent have to do with that?
Oh, well, look, the issue of reparations, the issue of OECSU, the issue of CARICOM, and being part of a wider community. Clearly, there are issues of international concern. What's going on in the Middle East, what's going on in Ukraine, have a direct bearing on what's happening in St. Vincent, the economy, the price of oil, and all these sort of things. But in addition, there are diplomatic relations and so they're established. We are not in a world by ourselves. We are not in a Garden of Eden, and therefore that's it. That's all we're concerned about. No, the world has really opened up. As I said, I just came up from Trinidad, and you being the head of CELAC, it then falls on you to take that leadership role. St. Vincent was part of the Security Council just over a year ago. We're the smallest nation ever got there. Should we say, let's not bother with all them things. We'll just focus on the fixing of a pothole here. You got to be able to do both. You know what I mean? You got to breathe and still chew gum and be able to do a number of other things.
So I'm glad you brought up security. That was my concern. We are bringing, this is an international issue now.
Yeah.
Everyone has their eyes on what is happening in Venezuela and Guyana. Both the leaders are coming to St. Vincent. What if, and I'm not calling it, but being realistic, what if something was to happen on Vincentian soil that will create an international issue? Are we prepared? Do we have the protocols in place to facilitate both of these world leaders?
This is not the first time. Things have been done. World leaders, Prince Charles, various other entities have been able to come to St. Vincent.
Hold your thought 1 second while we take this call. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, folks.
Good morning.
I don't know how much you guys know about history, but in the 14th and 15th century, they had what they call some conquistadors from Europe, mostly Portugal and Spain. There were two famous ones who went to Central America, South America, Pizarro and Cortez. They were termed as pirates. That is what we termed them back in our time. They were pirates. We studied them and all. Killed out a number of Incas, Mayas, Aztecs back in the day. Now, in my humble opinion, I think what is happening now, I don't know the lineage with persons, some Spanish people in Central and South America. I don't know their lineage relative to Portugal and, Portugal is Portuguese and Brazil is Portuguese and all that. But it is my belief that persons want to reenact that pirate thing that you call Christal. Have a nice day, guys.
All right, thank you so much.
Interesting, that's very interesting comment from that person there. But I think that St. Vincent and the Grenadines does have to play a role largely because of the position it finds itself in. Not only being part of CARICOM, but also being at the helm of CELAC until March of next year, being the president of CELAC. The first, I think, Caribbean country that has attained that particular role. I stand corrected with that.
And as it relates to security?
Yes, but as it relates to security, we have had notable presidential entities. President Chavez visited St. Vincent. There are a number of protocols that form of security. Sometimes, yes, trips can be cancelled, and so those things have also happened before because there's a concern as regards whether all security is in place. But St. Vincent and the Grenadines certainly has been able to do so in the past. We've held international conferences in terms of heads of CARICOM, heads of OECS, heads of different things, and we've done it very commendably. I don't want it to be said that St. Vincent is too small. We're incapable. We behind God's back and therefore don't have the resources. I hope you're not saying that.
I'm not saying that, but I want to know, right?
Yeah.
Because hosting.
In answering your question, absolutely yes. I think that it's done jointly. not just with St. Vincent alone, but with those particular countries involved.
Okay.
And with their own entities and so very much involved. They also want to be assured. And so therefore they put quite a bit into play as well when it comes to these things. But the capacity has always been there. Well, the capacity has grown, and electronic means and so forth, it's done. But you want to know whether we've done it in the past, right? And it can be done again.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Yes, good morning again. Well, here I hear Dr. Gerald Thompson in his true diplomatic style, representing the government, speaking so authoritatively as though nothing can happen. So I hope nothing happens. But, by the way, Chavez, maybe don't forget we had a president who came here from Venezuela. And for you, Christal and Aria, I don't know, you know who was the first Venezuelan president to come to St. Vincent and Grenadines?
Nope.
Hello?
No, sir. No, I said no.
Okay, President Jaime Lucinchi. And like even the good Dr. Gerald Thompson, must you forget about that?
No. They donated a tourism bubble and all that sort of stuff. You remember that?
We had the first Venezuelan president to come here, land down here and all of that. And I was part of that whole entourage. When I say went to Mustique and all of that and so on. Well, maybe it could be, I can't remember what year it was though. Maybe it could be said that at that time, we didn't have all this tension, conflict, and so on. Right? So things have gotten progressively worse in terms of where the world is. And I know some people won't want to hear that or they won't agree with me. But thank God I've been around for a while and I can bring back some of these things for those of us who just born or who don't know anything to tell them about it. Then Chavez came here. And let me tell you something, I am not blowing my trumpet, but I'm just saying this. I remember when Chavez came here as the last president of Venezuela. There was all whatever forces they had to use were on high alert because of tension with Venezuela and America. But do you know, your humble servant had an experience. Thank God it wasn't blown up or shown. One of President Chavez's woman, if I can use that, you put it that way, she was his chief photographer. In the height of the welcoming ceremony at the then E.T. Joshua Airport, that young lady came and rested her head on my shoulder. I tell you, I was shocked, but nobody captured that until during this ceremony. When I started to do that, I said, wait, she crazy or what? How she could do that? You know what happened? They had the security, and I just feel when one of them came and just pulled she away. I never saw her again for the rest of the day. So I just want to share that. I have been in some real peculiar, situations.
Yes,
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about me because me, no politician. I hear like Gerald Thompson. But for some reason, Vincent, I just wanted to share that.
Yes, it's about you, Dave.
All right, thank you, Dave. Have a good one.
That made me forget completely what
no, the moral of that, Dave has a very soft shoulder.
I remember.
It's a soft shoulder.
You remember Dave
I remember what I was
shoulder?
about to say before Dave on his shoulder.
Lay your head on my shoulder.
What's that challenge again? Lay your head on my shoulder.
That was a silhouette
All
challenge.
right, silhouette challenge. Okay, so when the ICJ handed down their ruling, CARICOM had publicly stated that they expected Venezuela to uphold what ICJ ruling was in terms of the Essequibo region. Now, ever since the announcement came that there will be peace talks here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. President Mohammed Ali still went forward and said he will not deviate from the position that the only way to settle Guyana's territorial dispute with Venezuela is at the International Court of Justice, the ICJ. And even this is in the story that the Prime Minister Gonzalez noted that Guyana is seeking to resolve the controversy through the ICJ, which I think is fair, but he's saying they currently seize, which is currently seized of the matter. I don't know. I don't understand that wording.
Which is currently familiar with the matter.
It's before the court,
Okay.
It was before the court before, but basically they made a rule. No, the thing is that, as I said, Venezuela has expressed they don't recognize the ICJ. You know what I mean? And that's one of these, in terms of how it went to the ICJ, Guyana would have made an application and so forth, and then there was a particular ruling. I think these are still very early days, and one shouldn't come up to the expectation that, look, there's already some formulation, there's some formula in terms of how this is going to go. I think that there going to have to be some intense negotiation and some.
But my question is, right, if years ago the leaders who were in charge of the respective countries came to an agreement and said this is the border, and the two countries agreed that this was and will always be the border, why do they have to negotiate? What is there to negotiate now if there was a long-standing agreement in Venezuela in sometime in the most recent past, because Grenada started making oil discoveries, now want to change Guyana, sorry. What did I say, Grenada?
Yeah.
Maybe Grenada has something coming up. Anyways, now Guyana is starting to make oil discoveries in this mineral-rich land. And let us point out, Venezuela is a lot bigger than Guyana.
It is,
and the Essequibo region is 2/3 of Guyana. That is the majority of Guyana.
Yeah.
And within that area there, as far as I know, there are some indigenous groups. You already made an agreement. So what is there to discuss? What is there to negotiate? That's just how I see it.
And that's why I agree with Guyana's position. Let the ICJ deal with this.
I think Guyana made the right move to put it forward to the ICJ, and I think that Venezuela should just chill a little bit, take a chill pill, and let the court decide. But they don't want to listen to the ICJ because I don't know if it's they feel that they will not rule in their favor or they don't have time to wait. But I think that is the best move forward for me. The president of Guyana, I'm not coming.
I don't see the point in 2023, and I don't see how in 2023 that a country could try to colonize another country in broad daylight for the world to see.
Again,
them days done, and it's clearly happening in front of us.
Well, it's happening in front of us in Ukraine. It's happening in front of us in the Middle East. It's been happening in Ethiopia, in relation to Eritrea, in relation
I don't think
to those particular places. You know, in terms of what's going on from a standpoint of Taiwan, the Taiwan Straits, matter of fact, around the world, there's been a lot of moves.
I don't view some of those things as colonization.
You're right to some degree. You know? It is a very strange sort of thing. The description of the timelines that Christal has brought up, from what I understand, these things are being disputed, right? This has been an ongoing thing going on for some time and not something that has come up since oil has emerged. It hasn't been because of oil, therefore this thing it's been ongoing.
But it started getting a bit more apparent since the discovery.
I view it as a political gimmick for Maduro to retain power. But
so you want
I don't
to
see it. I don't see it as something realistic.
2/3 of a country for your own political benefit.
That's how I see it, and wars have happened for political benefit. There are a lot of these wars.
Well, can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
There is the potential for Brazil to also make a claim for some other parts
of Guyana.
You
wow.
Know? Clearly.
It's best we go try to take over Barbados and St. Lucia.
No, let me correct you there. Clearly, they won't do that. There's no intention of doing that. But the times of dispute over a period of time, over 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, and so forth. And if about 2 months ago, we did a program on Africa and the way the Europeans divided Africa, and how they divided tribes and so forth, and how they just cut it up. And you have here, there, and, between this river and that river. And it allowed for a lot of these little conflicts to arise. Mm-hmm. But the various colonial powers, England, Spain, and so forth, and then those that obtained independence, because Venezuela obtained its independence relatively early. Yeah. And Guyana was still under the British as a colonial entity. You know what I mean? These things have certain timelines that are blurred and merged, and so. And I think that somebody hearing what you would have said, Christal, would question some of those timelines and say, no, it isn't this, it's that, and it's that the other.
But we have to take a break here and come back, and we'll see if Coach will be joining us this morning for the segment. But we'll break here and we'll be right back.
Exciting news! BC Entertainment proudly presents the first virtual reality gaming lounge located in Annisville. Immerse yourself in roller coaster rides, car racing, motorbike racing, Assassin's Creed, and many more. Host your party or private events with us. Bring your friends and family for an unforgettable gaming experience at BC Entertainment. BC Entertainment, where reality meets imagination. Learn more on Instagram at BC Entertainment SVG or call us at 570-7113.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's a whole new world out there. Reaching new customers and getting products faster. That's what it's all about. Ocean freight rates are skyrocketing, so don't pay more for slower service. It's time to switch to faster, more reliable air cargo service with SkyMax Cargo. Up to 3 flights weekly to and from the USA, Puerto Rico, and the Caribbean islands. Providing excellent import, export, and e-commerce solutions to put you ahead of the competition. For special low rates on small packages and air cargo, contact SkyMax today. 784-456-5400. Local agents SwiftPack Interprime Cargo. Call 784-456-5400 to book your shipments today.
Did you know? Have you used them? Vertis, Medushi, Lilies. These are among the best bathroom tissue products available any place. Excellent quality, larger sheet sizes, and more sheets per roll. Check them out and compare with others. And guess what? Guess what? These are produced right here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I tell you, Vinci's have class. Yes, real class as always. Let's keep our standards high. Buy Vertis, Medushi, and Lilies. Made by St. Vincent Containers.
Yes, sir.
Our industry relies on all of us to play our part. We take pride in showcasing our beautiful island, our craft, our cuisine, and our warm Vincentian hospitality.
Each of us play a crucial role in showcasing our vibrant tourism industry.
We can create spaces where visitors can unwind, connect with nature, and embrace tranquility of our beautiful surroundings.
We need everyone on board to help us create an exceptional experience for our guests.
Join us at our National Tourism Community Consultations as we shape the future of tourism in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
It's everyone's business, yeah. Love it, embrace it.
That could have been you. An accident that could have been avoided because your tires had almost no grip on the road. Safety is a factor that should never be overlooked when it comes to your car or whatever you drive. SVG Tire Sales and Services in Falls Avenue and in Arnisvale carries a wide selection of quality new tires to fit any car, truck, minibus, or SUV, so you can experience a comfortable and safe commute every time. We are agents for the world's most reliable brands on and off the road, including Kenda Tires, the
king of the mountain. Cooper Tires, king of the road and track. Osto, the king of the outback. And High Fly, the king of the Asian highway. We also carry new tires for light or heavy-duty trucks from MRF, High Fly, and Linglong. A reliable set of new tires keep you, your passengers, and your payload always in the safe lane. So when you need quality tires with reliability at 100%, choose SVG Tire Sales and Services in Kingstown, 457-1467, or in Arnesvale, 456-6444. SVG Tire Sales and Services. Performance and reliability proven when the rubber meets the road.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, and you can find the season's best at Quartz. Get the best brands, best prices, and more. Save 25% on select items. Shop today with no cash and pay absolutely nothing until March 2024. Plus, stay protected for up to 4 years with Super Shield extended warranty. The season's best is at Quartz. Bringing value home. Special conditions apply. Offer available until December 30th, 2023.
WEFM, the new fresh sound. WEFM, the new fresh sound.
Activated Mornings on WeFM 99.9 is on now.
And we're back. The time is 8:40 in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This morning, it's myself, Ari, Christal, and Doc Thompson here. We're discussing the Guyana and Venezuela president to have peace talks here in St. Vincent on Thursday. But while we talk, we're waiting a call from courts. It's usually the time where they call and they update us on their current offers.
It should have been in since 8:30.
Yeah, it should have been.
Sure.
It should have been at 8:30.
But there are some comments on the WhatsApp. Somebody says Venezuela doesn't recognize that court. That's the ICJ.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point.
So basically, gimme, just gimme.
No. You see, if I am, let's say, a religious person, let's say a Muslim, and I'm going to go in front of, let's say, a Christian council, let's say, for a decision, I would say, but no, I'm a Muslim. So I'm not going to take any definition from a Christian society. You know what I'm saying? As I brought it up as an example, the recognition of the National Court of Justice by one party blurs the issue to slightly, right? I think there are other means of dealing with this, but that's one means, and so, but they may not be the final arbiter. I recognize it as the final arbiter, but you don't recognize it as the final arbiter. You know what I'm saying?
So what is if Venezuela does not recognize the ICJ, then who do they
Recognize?
respect?
The PM, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines,
SILA, CARICOM.
No, but I hear the thing that's where this discussion starts. Negotiate. Somebody say, look, I think you were expressing that Guyana shouldn't even be at the table. Refuse to be at the table.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
If I would go on to
but it is something that you've been invited to.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
I think that they expect it to be here. I don't think they're gonna back out because we've already got a ruling from the ICJ and so forth, and that's it, right?
I don't agree that it shouldn't show up. If the possibility exists that we could resolve this within the Caribbean, I think it should happen. I think talk should happen.
No, it doesn't mean
it can be
mean that
resolved.
the ICJ is going to be left out of it.
Yeah.
It's a hurdle that you have to get over. That one country does not recognize the ICJ as the final arbiter with respect to justice.
But can it be said that is a convenient move to not recognize the ICJ because of the possibility that it will not rule in your favor? And
they had not done so because of other things that would have taken place in the past with respect to Guyana, with respect to Venezuela.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right.
The number of issues.
So they don't trust them.
But not in these international treaties, not every country signs on to these particular things. The Caribbean Court of Justice, how many entities use the Privy Council as their final arbiter, as opposed to the Caribbean Court of Justice. Which ones? The number of countries that use it, and the others that use the Privy Council.
So in the absence of there being, well, different countries using different appellate courts, then what? I'm trying to find out if it's not ICJ, then
before
who is
there
it?
was a United Nations, before there was an International Court of Justice, how were things resolved? You know what I mean? There were
Fighting.
Fight was one means, and then there
Acquiring.
was there was negotiations. There was different means of doing things. So in other words, because we have some of these modern structures that have been designed to help, it doesn't mean that there weren't solutions used before that time, or that alternative solutions can also be used. But I think the International Court of Justice is an important entity here, and there's nothing wrong also with having them there at the table. It's just that one entity in the party doesn't recognize that. So you have to find some way around that. If both had recognized that, it would be a simple process. They give a ruling, they could explain their ruling, but because one doesn't recognize it, wants to use that, but use other means.
I'm still looking for an answer to the question.
why is it?
If not the ICJ, then who are they going to use as the mediator?
Right, but what I'm saying is that prior to the ICJ, if we look up when the ICJ was established.
So what are the
right?
possibilities?
The ICJ.
Where's the highest court in international law?
No, what the point about the ICJ was probably established when? In the last 20 years. You know what I mean? It isn't that international code. Matter of fact, does the United States recognize the ICJ? Huh? You mean? In other words, there's been lots of issues that have come up internationally in which there's been rulings. Antigua took the United States over a number of issues and so forth. They won, but enforcement and so forth, they couldn't get that done. You know what I mean? I think we have to understand that there were also solutions before these things developed. I could Google and find out when ICJ was actually established.
I'd like to know what countries don't recognize ICJ, because ICJ is the international body of law that usually sorts out these type of disputes. So is it that Russia, China, the countries in Africa who are currently having civil war and disputes with other countries, is it that all these countries don't recognize the ICJ? If so, then what is the point of the ICJ?
But then again, a sovereign country could say, these are my rights. This is my country, and I have to take care of my people.
Yeah.
XYZ. What are the repercussions?
What are the repercussions? Yeah.
If a country does not abide by a ruling made by the ICJ, then what?
Because I'm pretty sure the ICJ was against Russia-Ukraine situation, but Russia's still like, oh, okay, that's nice. Keep your opinion. I have something to do here.
I know, this is crazy.
So then, what power does the ICJ really hold? Why does Guyana feel so comfortable going to the ICJ while Venezuela is saying, we don't recognize it?
Let me just say something here.
Right.
They say Article 23 of the United Nations Charter
Mhm.
sets up the means by which how these things should be done. But there were treaties.
To the mic, dog.
Huh?
Yeah.
To the mic, please.
Mount to the mic.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. How I'm looking away. But there were
Yeah.
treaties done before that. Go back as far called the J Treaty of 1794. Between the United States and Great Britain. Remember, there was a dispute there. You know what I mean? Coming out of the American independence and so forth. But there's a host of history in relation to it. Now, this goes on. I mean, this looks like a very long article that I'm going to have to digest first before I piece it through.
But this seems barbaric to me. There's a body put in place to sort out these type of issues, and conveniently, if it does not rule in my favor, I would say, oh, well, I don't recognize it. I do whatever I feel like anyways. So what going to be the end goal? If we don't resolve it with the talks, what going to be the end goal? War?
Well, they shall hear of war.
Sorry, not the end goal, the end result. War? Someone
written in the Bible.
Former cop saying that the US doesn't recognize the ICJ either.
Maybe they should go through a court that both countries recognize.
But which court would that be?
Don't know. It's no problem. I mean, if a country or an entity do not recognize the ICJ, and then.
But you see, while I don't, okay, I feel both ways about the US not recognizing the ICJ. On one hand, it's US is a big enough country, has enough influence to make decisions of their own, which is dangerous. And on the other hand, no country should have that much power in which they do not listen to a body put in place to mediate such issues. So what you're telling me is, if the US decides that they want to invade Guyana and they want the Essequibo region for themselves because they don't recognize the ICJ, then that should just be so. There's nothing set in place to stop them.
There are so many forces at play here.
No, yeah, I'm not a geopolitical mastermind, and I don't have all this information, but these things are concerning to me.
So essentially, the International Court of Justice was established in 1946 after the dissolution of the former entity that dealt with some of these matters coming out of the start of the United Nations. Then before that, there was the League of Nations. But it goes through over the last couple of centuries. There have been some entities and so that have been engaged in these things. In terms of how much weight they carry, they should really carry a fair amount of weight in these modern times.
They should. But
somebody says, yes, that's true. The US doesn't recognize either. So maybe we could wrap this up in the next 4 minutes.
So what you just read there? What you just read there?
Somebody says, yes, the US doesn't recognize it either. What would happen if they rule in Venezuela's favor? Then what? Would Venezuela recognize them?
And that's what Christal and I is saying.
There have been. It's interesting.
Squash it still.
I don't want to get into who do. I mean, I did say the United States doesn't recognize it and so forth. Those are things that were though. A number of other countries do. But when there's a dispute and you decide you're going to one court that the other party is not party to, it stretches the decision a little bit. You know what I mean? Whereas if both entities had recognized that entity, then that judgment would have been, would have had some greater weight. Right. It still has great weight, but for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, let me say, going into this, helping with negotiations, you should go in not seeming as if you have already made a choice one way or the other, or as if you understand everything on the law and you're going to make a decision. If we were here today, Christal, one might say, Christal would have made a decision already, and Harry would have been, and therefore 2-1.
Save so money. My decision will save a lot of money and time.
Save a lot of money.
Yeah.
Conflict and so forth. Sometimes this happens to somebody's accused of a murder and we throw them in jail and throw away the key and say, let's wait, let's save time. We're going to go through trial and keeping him this way. Let's dispense with it one time. I think that to help move this thing forward, persons and people in party negotiation would have to be able to talk to both parties and have some confidence from both entities that they could help pull this together. You understand? That's the role that various entities would have to play, right? Okay. And I'm hoping that St. Vincent rises to that challenge. Questions would have been raised by Harry about whether we have the security or whether we have this. And so we have all those things.
Yeah, well, we didn't have enough security to protect the Prime Minister from getting his head handed to him.
Our Prime Minister is one of those Prime Ministers who's very public. He walked the street. When you go to other places, They cordon off a whole area.
That's
They
true.
clear people out. The people who are allowed in are vetted and so forth, checked, patted down, everything like that. The party supporters and so forth who are checked, their ID scrutinized and everything like that
man in his
before they're
backyard.
allowed in. And if you see the entourage of people, and sharpshooters and so on, roofs and so forth, when these entities are around the world. So our prime minister, he essentially will get out and walk the street. I remember, the commissioner, the past commissioner of police wanted more detail. People probably said, no, give me 4. You know, and said, no, we can't protect you unless you have 20, 25, because that is what they're taught when they go to international conference on security and so forth, to do things properly. And they don't want anything to happen under their watch, right?
And that's my concern. That exactly is my concern.
No, but I mean, it's different. It's different.
So you mean we should have this in the United States? You know what I mean?
No, I'm not saying don't have it in St. Vincent, you know. I'm just asking because my concern is
don't have it in St. Vincent.
He said he's not saying.
I'm not saying that. I am not saying that.
I hope you're not saying that.
What I'm saying is I don't want an international incident to happen on Vincentian soil.
But you know, we've had meetings in the past that went well. So I don't see this as being any different.
Harry.
Yeah, but
we
it's
have
a
5
concern
minutes.
and it should be raised.
No,
we don't have 5 minutes at all. We have minutes.
Point.
We have minutes.
Me, right? I don't know if anybody else would bring this up in any discussion, but the story says, and it quoted the PM as saying that he is friends with President of Guyana. He's also friends with the President of Venezuela.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking back, what have we gotten from Guyana? Apart from purchasing the prefab, what have we gotten from Guyana?
How often has the president been here as well?
Hold on. Right? Apart from the prefab homes that we've purchased.
History. You know, not only we basically, a lot of Vincentians went down to British Guyana to work. There was a phase in our history where a lot of people went there to work. It's also true, a lot of people went to Venezuela to work. You know what I mean? A lot of people went to Trinidad to work. And there are a lot of Guyanese also here.
Now, because I feel like, right. So my question was not a matter of shunning or in a bad light towards Guyana.
Who do we have more to get from?
Right? No, but who have we economically benefited from more?
It's more than economic. It is what is right. And I think that the Prime Minister said, look, I'm friends with both. And that's going to be helpful. Because if he was one-sided, if he was already, it's hard to ask someone who has already committed one way to be part of a negotiating team. They're going to be biased. So Prime Minister Gonsalves, really, from an opportune point of view, probably is the best entity in the Caribbean right now to basically help lead this, because he was recently in Guyana, and the Guyanese honored him, gave him a lot of awards and accolades and so forth like that. But it's more so historically, Milton Cato and Forbes Burnham were very close. You know what I mean? I'm saying our traditional history. I have pictures of my father going down to Guyana and so forth, and on several occasions. And so when there's been a long history with Guyana that goes beyond economics.
Okay,
it's the social aspect of part of CARICOM and so on.
Right, but if you look at the media and the stories, most of the headlines are from what we have gotten from Venezuela, correct?
What do you mean? No.
Okay, so for the past, let's say 10 years, most of the things that you've heard of,
Guyana has been going through a tough time over the last 20 years, and much of its people migrated. You think about it, you know, so it
right.
isn't.
So my question is, right, do you think that some people would see a bias towards Venezuela because of what we have gotten from Venezuela within the past years?
Well, I thought that the question you were asking was that
It was leading up to that.
yes, because of that, it's a foregone conclusion. Let's go and support Guyana. But I'm saying the role,
people would see
that St. Vincent and Grenadines has to play now is one, not that it's a one of neutrality, but being able to help in this very important dispute in our region, that they have to be able to impress on the Venezuelans and be able to impress on the Guyanese so that they could bring a meeting of minds together. Whatever the solution is, and there'll be some person say, look, it's a foregone conclusion. This solution should be 100% for Guyana or 100% for Venezuela. It's going to, whether it's 99% Guyana, 1% Venezuela, basically, I think that St. Vincent seems well positioned to be able to do a fairly decent job within the next 6 months and within the next upcoming year or so, because it may take a protracted, the patience of Job to basically get this done.
Well, we could wrap it up the conversation at 9:20. The time is now 9 o'clock here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and it's time for your ECCB currency exchange rates brought to you by Bank of St. Vincent.